Master gardener Faye has been building her garden since 2004. She lives on the middle hillside in southeast Anchorage, where it's about 5 degrees cooler than downtown. She has created a Hosta habitat with a budding affinity to Martagon and Asiatic lilies. Faye started with a plan created by Sally Arandt, a beloved designer and author of the Alaska Primrose Primer. Faye planted some of the selections Sally suggested, but Faye has put in a lot of her own choices, like this shimmery sea berry. A lot of compost was brought in when she built these beds, and a fence installed to keep moose out of this special zone. Violas have seeded themselves after she said she made the mistake one year of planting a 6-pack. This shimmery copper regersea started out as one plant. Normally it prefers shade. We'll talk more about that in her second video. This year, Faye feels like the Martagons have gone crazy. Faye bought pale poppy seeds years ago at Bell's nursery. The poppies lived outside of the fence but died away. Then one day they showed up by the rock edging. She loves their delicateness. She makes her own plant labels for her benefit as well as visitors. This astrantia is so successful she will divide some. A pale yellow iris by the astrantia came from Sally. Faye calls it ecru. This heirloom iris came from Faye's mother. Last year in Minnesota, Faye, her sister, and sister-in-law worked for 3 days digging up her mother's garden to transplant it to their brother's home. Faye feels she has purchased all the hostas commonly sold in town, so now has branched out to buying online. Faye enjoys combining leaf textures and colors. This design detail adds interest to a garden. On the day of filming, she just received 6 new hostas and needed to figure out where to place them. She says, "I see a plant I like, I buy it, then I try to figure out where to put it." Note to new gardeners, this is a cardinal sin. We don't want you to be disappointed if the plant does not survive. Know your location, growing zone, and environment so you can make successful choices. Faye has plenty of experience in her garden and through her dedication to the Master Gardeners and the Alaska Botanical Garden. She has learned what grows well and where. In 2018, she purchased this giant betony from a gardener on the famous Willow Garden Tour. Did she have large Asiatic lilies before Martagon? No, she says it was always too shady and too cold, but now all of a sudden she's got more lilies than she knows what to do with. Thanks, climate change! Faye is out almost every day just checking on her garden. Weeds in the gravel are the most consternating. She says they must have 5 generations a summer. But what else does she have to do this year? Did she try to grow anything that didn't like it here? One year Faye tried hellebore, but it did not produce. This year she was weeding the shady corner bed and felt a rough leaf and looked down, and oh my, there was the hellebore, broken out from years of long dormancy. A patch of lady slipper orchids from Sally has thrived since 2004. She also has a white trillium that looked great this year and a jack-in-the-pulpit. Where Faye has ferns, they live in pots sunk in the ground to keep them from spreading, although the pots are bottomless. The only reason she keeps this coppery leaf bleeding heart is for the foliage. Her Helsinki rhododendrons didn't do much this year. She removed one and warned the rest. If they don't bloom next year, they're out. There was a Mayday tree here back when they were all the rage. She started seeing little maydays everywhere, so cut it down and dug out the roots. Around it was a heuchera garden. But when the tree came out, the heuchera died. A delicate-leafed maple oversees more hosta and a woodland poppy. She says heuchera are short-lived. They boost themselves out of the ground over time. She tries to tamp them back down to see if they will survive. She fertilizes thoroughly every spring, especially iris, which she knows are heavy feeders. 3 years ago, Faye bought 5 yards of horse manure and just finished using it this year. She said it composted well over time. She puts a little bit in holes whenever she plants new plants. Light hostas brighten the shade. She loves her hostas and the varieties of colors and textures. Faye is amazed that there are over 6,000 varieties of hosta. Sometimes she can't tell the difference between two, and sometimes she has purchased hostas that were mislabeled. All the more reason to label them in her garden. Faye likes grasses and loves watching them in the wind. She has ribbon grass, blue oak grass, bronze hairgrass, and golden foxtail. Voles got in her grasses last year, and she had never seen that before. This spring, when all the snow was gone, she saw that all the edges around the grass clumps had been eaten off. When she was cleaning them up, out of one clump she found a nice little woven bowl. The voles also ate at the primula roots and chewed on epimedium. Faye is a member of the Hosta Lovers Facebook group and to a group dedicated to pests and problems for hostas. There is a hosta virus going around, and since she buys plants from out of state, she needs to stay vigilant. For slug problems, she puts out cups of beer to catch slugs before they get big. She cuts back stuff that might self-seed and does a lot of deadheading. She used to cut everything down. Typically now, she cuts down peonies in the fall, cuts and lays down lilies, but the grasses and irises she leaves up for winter interest. The big orange lilies came from a neighbor. Her cats sometimes supervise, be they live animals or still. Faye cuts back the kiwi in spring before it leaves out. She says she cuts it back constantly in the summer and swears when she pulls one cane off, it puts on another. She calls it an indeterminate vine. Last year, outside the fence, a windstorm knocked down a spruce and left 3 others in danger of falling. Subscribe or check back later in the season. Faye's second video will feature a new garden where the trees came down. When Faye first came to Alaska in the 70s and 80s, she says all it did was rain all summer. She used to play softball back then, and it seemed like it was always wet. On this day, her garden was basking in the sun. As our summers become progressively warmer, Faye may find her garden longing for shade again.